Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we've got to look at Transformers War for Cybertron Earthrise number 5, and that is Deluxe Class Hoist. Finally been able to track this guy down after gathering up the Deluxes through piecemeal over the last 3 days. And Hoist, as you can tell, is a very, very big Deluxe. I mean, he's about as oversized for a Deluxe as Cliff Jumper was undersized, so a lot of bang for your buck here. And if you're a fan of the original Hoist toy, I think you're very much going to like this one. It seems to keep very, very true to the old design, while adding in, obviously modern engineering and a few little twists. So if you see my reviews, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at Hoist's packaging. We'll open up the box, look at the instructions. We'll take a look at his piece of the universal map, and then we'll look at Hoist himself in both his vehicle and robot modes. Of course, I'll be doing some group shots and comparisons with him, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So anyway, Hoist comes in your standard deluxe packaging for Earthrise. Got his name in both English and Ancient Autobot, his little serial number, toy himself. Over here, you get this really, really nice artwork of Hoist, and I absolutely love the colors on him. The artist and the colorist managed to give this really nice, kind of glow effect to him. Looks like he's on Earth, and I think there's a rainstorm going on, or I'm not sure. It kind of looks that way. Maybe not. And he's got a little piece here. I think he's welding it with his attachment. So they're welding it, or he's plugging it in or unplugging it from there. I'm not really sure. I think he's welding it. Either way, looks very, very good. I'll go ahead and turn him here. You can see renders of his 2 modes, robot and vehicle mode. He takes 20 steps to transform, so he is the most complex Deluxe out of this wave, which is fitting because he is the largest. More room to play with, This shows off his ramp and its ability to connect with other toys through the airlock system. And one thing I want to point out that I noticed here, his little attachment, I'm really not sure what it's even called, things he always got on his back. On the render, it's orange. On the toy itself, it's white. So at some point later in the game, they decided to switch that. I don't know if they did it because they wanted to, or if it was out of mold necessity. Not really sure. But it does help break up the color a bit, so I'm totally okay with that. And then over here, you got your standard Earthrise artwork. As gorgeous as it is. Right here are Hoist instructions. See the render from here. Got his name, all that fun stuff. Open it up. Got his tech specs. You have an explanation of how to wield his little arm cannon thing. And then you got his transformation to his truck mode. And then this step pretty much completes the transformation, and then these additional steps are how to deploy his ramp. And then you got weapon storage here. This shows you how to utilize the ramp to connect to other Earthrise pieces using the airlock system. In this case, you're using Ironworks and his weird little ramp mode, or street mode, whatever it is. Then here they just talk about using the map to reveal clues. Speaking of the map, here is Hoist's piece of it. Using our decoder, we find out that this mystery planet is Junkion, home of, the Junkions. And it's got its own little symbol here. And what's interesting is those red lines that are riddled all over the map pieces, they all seem to converge right here over Junkion. So I really wonder what that's supposed to mean. I don't know if they're implying there's a significance, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think that's interesting that it's kind of apparently front and center of this map. On an additional note, our Junkion map actually fits together with another map piece that we have for this Deluxe wave. And that particular one is the map of Antilla. This is wheeljacks. So you place them together like this, and forms a better piece of Junkion as a whole. It's depicted as very, very big on this map, and it's surrounded by a whole bunch of energy lines or something. So there's something going on with Junkion. And this also does, reveal a little bit about this new Transformers universe, and that apparently Antilla and Junkion are very close to each other. least in this telling. I don't think that was really the case in like IDW. Pretty sure Antilla was way, way out there. But, you know, for all intents and purposes, they're right next to each other. And, you know, the plot's really starting to thicken, isn't it? I'm getting very curious about what's going on here. Hopefully we'll get some more map pieces soon that help tie things together a little more neatly. All right, now we have Hoist's vehicle mode. And you can see he turns into a green pickup truck, and it comes with this orange ramp apparatus. So it's supposed to be some kind of tow truck. All right, then you can see on this side, he's got his little arm cannon thing attached, just for storage. The underside, one of the biggest issues is he has these very visible hands just kind of hanging down. Now, I actually have his hands turned around backwards just to kind of minimize the appearance from the side, make them less obvious, otherwise you just see all his fingers. That's not part of the transformation officially, but you can do what you want. Yeah, overall though, pretty solid truck. The front wheels are a lot better than the back, because you see the back wheels just have those clips going right through them and they look kind of terrible. The front wheels look much, much better. Got your nice silver hubcaps. Unfortunately, the front wheels don't turn very well. That one doesn't. Right here, this is our problem wheel. So I am having some issues with getting this thing to roll like I'd like it to. But, you know, is what it is. Alright, so now to deploy this guy's ramp, you gotta swing these little wing things out to the side. And you just kind of lift up and swing down. Kind of free falls out of there. It's on a little track. And then to secure it, just pull it all the way down until it pops in that little nook there. And then you have this ramp. You can let it, you know, hang down, or you can attach it to something else. So to demonstrate, here's Ironworks in his Micromaster base mode. And it works out pretty well to where the ramp here and then Ironworks' little ramp piece, they're almost exactly at the same height, so you do get a nice level connection here. So, yeah, I don't know, I'm a little iffy about his ramp feature, because it's cool that it connects to Micromaster bases, but then, you know, what do? I mean, they pull onto this tiny platform. Most Micromaster vehicle modes are way too big for this, so I'm not sure functionally how useful that is. I guess maybe they can mount him like a battle station or something. I don't know. But it's there. It's interconnectivity, so it just kind of helps feed the ecosystem. Okay, now for a comparison, this is the last Hoist toy that came out. This is Thrilling 30 Hoist. And you can see he's quite a bit of a different take on the classic formula. He is based off of the IDW interpretation of the character, so he's a little more futuristic looking. You can see he swaps out your ramp apparatus for like a little tow arm, a crane. So he becomes more of a traditional tow truck. And you can see how, you know, the same overall design can inspire two very different interpretations. Right now we're going to do the transformation, but before I do that, I just want to point this out. I'm not sure how easy it is to see from far away. But Hoist here has some battle damage, or at least, you know, some dirt spray applications on the hood of his truck. Now that makes him interesting because he's the only new mold Earthrise toy to have battle damage painted on. That feature was supposedly nixed after Siege ended, but for some reason Hoist still has it. And I don't know why that is, why he's so unique. Or maybe we just misunderstand. Maybe, I mean, I don't know if anyone ever said the battle damage is going away, so maybe it's just going to be used more sparingly. Who knows, but it is interesting to note, because the only Earthrise toy besides him that would have that so far is Astro Train, but Astro Train is just a carryover from Siege anyway. So, yeah. Anywho, so we're going to start this transformation. First thing you want to do is remove his weapon, if it's on there. Then you are going to pull these arms away a bit. You're going to lift the hood of the truck all the way up and just kind of get it out of the way. And you're going to take his whole ramp section here and lift it up and off of the bed of the truck. And plugs in there pretty securely, so it might take a little bit of force. All right, move this out of the way. And you are going to bring this lower body down. These panels here are going to flip out. So you want to bring the arms down a little bit, kind of get you some clearance, and then pull these outwards. Just like so. These feet here, I'm just going to extend them all the way out. Bring this to a 90, that's as far as it goes. And the hood, fold in all the way. It won't snap into place or anything, it'll just kind of go until it can't go anymore. Bring these panels downward, swing the arms down, rotate the biceps. If you're like me and you turn his fists around, now's the time to fix them. Put them in their neutral position there. And then, while you have this thing out, you see his head. You're gonna kind of grab the head and the panel that's on between two fingers, rotate it like so until the panel kind of snaps into place. Bring this all the way up on the one hinge, swing it in, locks into place there, and then position them. Now what we're gonna do here, first you're gonna swing these out to the side so that you can lift this ramp away. And then you want to get this white piece out of there. And the best way to do that is probably hook a fingernail or something into the face of it. Actually, just lift this off a bit and push it through. It's probably easier. Sloppy, sloppy, guys. So yeah, swing it up. Close the ramp back up. All right, once you've got that whole back assembly back together, these little bits you're gonna take and you're gonna bring them up to kind of a diagonal position, much like Wheeljack's little back wings. Make sure this thing's pointing as far forward as it'll go. And there you go. Hoist is now ready for action. And he is a big, big deluxe. In fact, I think he's the biggest one out of the War for Cybertron line so far. He's got a full range of posability. Head is on a ball joint, so it can move around. His shoulders are interesting because the swivel part moves this entire apparatus, but the hinge is actually kind of back here. It's actually really more of another swivel than a hinge, it just doesn't go all the way around. He's got bicep swivel, he's got a single bend elbow, obviously wrist swivel as we saw. He has full waist swivel. It's a bit impeded by his backpack, but you could always lift it up a little bit if for some reason you wanted to put him in some painful contortions. His hips here, swing up, swing back, swing out. Thigh swivel. He actually has a double knee bend, technically, due to his transformation. This is the natural bend. We could also use the transformation joint to get like a deeper bend out of him if you want to. Looks a little weird, but it's there. And then of course he has ankle tilt, because what would a Siege toy be without it? In fact, is there a Siege Deluxe and above that doesn't have ankle tilt? I don't think there is. Could be wrong though, don't quote me. Now for his weapon, it doesn't show this on the instructions, but if you want to store it, not have him wield it, got two perfectly good holes right back here. So you always put it there, blends in very well. That is an option. Or if you want him to wield it, it's designed to not only be held in his hand, but to cover it up as if it's replacing it. And that is a callback to the original Hoist toy, who had like detachable fists. Then you could plug in, his little cannon thing instead. And because of that, because it was shown in official photography and all that, a lot of his cannon portrayals have him always using like one cannon as a hand. So I imagine a lot of people are going to be posing him like this on their shelves. And it's up to you. You want to have one hand, two hands, It's totally your call, but either way, he looks fantastic. One thing I do want to cover real quick, when the early shots of him came out, there was a lot of debate over the color of his faceplate here. A lot of people were saying it's a different color from the rest of his helmet. A lot of people are saying, no, it's just the lighting. Well, I can confirm, and I hope it is clear through the camera here, but the faceplate actually is a different color. It's painted a very, very dark silver color. I mean, it's only slightly lighter than the rest of his head, but it's also a lot shinier too. So it's not just a trick of the light, it really is a different color, which I'm okay with. I think it makes him look much more fleshed out, more premium than if it were just a black head all around. Now, to check to see if he is the tallest, I brought out Ironhide, who is the current tallest, if you don't count the big drill sticking off the top of Zaytar's head. And it is a very, very close call. I have them both standing as, upright as possible. It looks like, oh boy, it is close. I think because of Ironhide's head crest here, he still has Hoist by like a tiny, tiny bit. I mean, a millimeter maybe. It's really honestly hard to say. But either way, whether he completely takes the cake or not, there is no denying that Hoist is an absolutely huge figure. Here's another quick height comparison with his fellow Earthrise Deluxes, just so you can see how they scale against each other. Cliffjumper is obviously the shortest, coming up like not much more than halfway to Hoist height. And then you got Wheeljack being a little short. Ironworks is more standard height for Deluxe, and then you got a big old behemoth Hoist over here. And that whole thing they said about Hasbro being allotted a certain amount of plastic per wave, in this case the Deluxe wave, I can see it, because if you took it and average it all out, average out the heights, it'd all be probably somewhere around Wheeljack or Ironworks' height. So I can see that. It does make sense. And again, I'm not crazy about that practice, because if you're only looking to pick up, maybe some of the smaller characters, really losing out on money. Now for a final group shot, we have Hoist and Hoist yet again. And now, this is a pretty stark difference, don't you think? Their vehicle modes were fairly close in size. Earthrise was a bit bigger, but not by much. In their robot modes, he pretty much towers over his Thrilling 30 counterpart. Thrilling 30 Hoist and Trailbreaker, or we'll call him Trail Cutter, same guy. They were notoriously short, especially considering how tall the characters are typically depicted. So this really does highlight just how short they actually were. And you can also see that their designs are very, very different. The Thrilling 30 Hoist, all of his design cues, very much evoke the stylized, sleek look of the More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light comics. It's kind of a look they're really famous for. And he also just, changes things up a bit. Got a green head as opposed to your old typical black. His hood is mounted on his chest very differently. Gets rid of the whole backpack thing and only keeps, this part up here, which I still don't know what it's called. I mean, I think for Trail Cutter or Trailbreaker, that was like his hologram projector, but I don't think Hoist can do that. And then, of course, the Thrilling 30 Hoist trades out the standard arm cannon for more of a typical gun-type weapon. So yeah, two very, very different takes on one design. And with that, we come to the end of this video. So as far as my final thoughts on this toy, I think he's great, honestly. The classic Hoist design I always found kind of ugly. He always had, very weird proportions. He had like a big, wide, abdomen and long, skinny legs. And this guy emulates that. So, by extension, I find him rather ugly. However, I can't say that the toy doesn't absolutely succeed at what it's trying to do, and that's be like a perfect update to the original toy. I mean, it does that easily. He, looks really good. He does have some hollowness to him, especially inner forearms here, and then like just the inside of his abdomen. It's all hollow and is a little visible, though it's not all that noticeable unless you're just looking for it. I do like the fact that he comes with his little blaster accessory thing that can double as like a hand for him. One thing I find odd is you see all these white pieces. Now on the original toy, those were chromed. And then on the Thrilling 30 toy, the equivalent pieces were made like a silverish dark gray, because they don't use like the vacuum metallized paint much anymore. For some reason, on this new one, they decided to go with white instead of some sort of like a silver or gray to more closely match the original. I'm not sure why that is. I think it does look weird. Kind of makes him look like, I don't know, kind of makes him look like the Irish flag. So, I suppose if you're Irish, that's good, right? But yeah, if I were to change one thing on him, I might alter that white to just a slightly darker gray. Oh, yeah, I also just noticed that he has a little bit of battle damage paint on his forearms too. Hard to notice because it's like a light gray, but it's there. Anyway, without rambling much more, I'll reiterate, I think he's fantastic. I can already tell he's a very popular figure, considering he was the hardest one for me to find. Everyone was snatching him up real quick. And I think he's just got a lot of play value. He's very dynamic. He's very cool to look at, even if he does have really odd proportions. He has the interconnectivity with the bases, however limited that might be, at least it's something. And overall, I think he's just a fun experience. Plus, he's big, so you're definitely getting your money's worth. Of course, that is just how I feel. I'd love to know what you all think in the comments section. If you enjoyed this look at Hoist, make sure to leave a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that this is the kind of content you want to see, so I'll keep making it for you, you lovely people. If you want to see more reviews like this or any of my other videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at a new and improved and fantastic Hoist figure. And with all that said, I will see you next time.